All right, back on the Sort of Sports podcast, episode 121. Now, I must say, I missed last week. It was a first time, I think, since August that I missed on the schedule. I've been doing weekly episodes talking about NFL, and I throw in a couple extra here and there, but I think that was the first week since, what was this? Let me take a look at this. August 29th, yeah. So the first week since then that I missed an episode. So it's on me, folks, as I had finals last week, and then I ended up going to visit Genevieve, so I just couldn't really find the time to get one done, and I felt like I was really going to make it up to you all, because this week you're going to get 4 episodes. Yeah, that's right, 4 episodes. You're probably thinking, Ryan, why do you have that much to talk about? Well, this episode is going to be the college football playoff predictions. Then tomorrow we're going to do our regular Tuesday NFL thoughts on the week. And actually, I didn't have a ton of thoughts on last week in the NFL, so it kind of worked out all right. And as promised, I will be doing an entire episode just talking about this trailer for the new Superman movie. That'll most likely be out Thursday evening-ish, I'd say. Friday at the latest. Very, very excited to talk about that. Trailer comes out Thursday. The poster came out today. I even have a lot of thought. I could cut you a whole episode right now just on the poster and the minute we heard of the official score. I could do a whole probably 20 minutes just on that. But I'm just going to wait until Thursday to give my thoughts on Superman. And you're like, Ryan, that's only 3 episodes. There's another surprise episode that'll probably be coming out, I think, Wednesday. Will probably be it. So we'll probably do an episode Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. So you'll have a lot to listen to if you're a big fan of the Sort of Sports podcast. If you're one of my 67 subscribers and you're enjoying that. Well, I guess on YouTube it's 67. I have a couple listeners on Spotify, but I'd assume if you're on Spotify, you follow me on YouTube or you follow me on Twitter. I think I have like 50 followers on Twitter. I used to have over 100. And then a lot of them disappeared. So either they really didn't like my recent tweets, and I was unfollowed by 50 people, or they were some form of bot that has now been removed by the app. I'm going to guess it's more the second one, just because that's a little bit lighter for me. It makes me feel a little less bad. But let's get into today's episode. We're doing the college football playoff predictions. This is really exciting. I've done a little bit of college football playoff predictions in the past, but like very lightly. Like I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of what I think is going to happen. This is a lot more fun. 12-team playoff. I want to state again, I am happy with this format. I really am. I think people are getting really bent out of shape about it. And to me, I really like the format. My only thing I would change is I would love for there be no bowl games until the Final Four. I don't really think that, Oregon is the number 1 seed. Oregon should have 1 home playoff game. So then every team that's a higher seed would have 1 home playoff game. If you were a top seed, like if you were a 5, 6, 7, 8 seed, you have a home playoff game your first game. Then if you win, you would play at the other team's home stadium. Just so then if you are a top 8 seed, you get a home game. And the bowl games don't come in until the third round, so the Final Four. So kind of like the way it used to be, where those were all bowl games. We did the Final Four college football playoff in the old days, as in last year and the years before that. I'd revert to that system. I just think that makes more sense for those to be the bowl games. And it's fun to give, reward to the fact that, you made, like, you made the, you know what I mean? Like, you made the playoffs. Does that make sense? Like, I hope that makes sense. To me, it just makes a lot more sense in my mind as a reward. It's like if you're a top 4 seed, you get a bye and a home game. But people are getting all bent out of shape, like, oh, the conference championships, guaranteeing you a spot's stupid. I really disagree. I think it's good that the conference championships still matter. I think it's fun that Clemson is only in because they won the ACC. And you're like, well, this isn't the best 12 teams. I like the fact the conferences are represented. I really do. And if you name me the best 12 teams, we all know the way this committee would vote. It would essentially be an SEC invitational with Ohio State and Oregon and Notre Dame thrown in. That would probably be it. A couple Big Ten schools, Notre Dame thrown in too, for good measure. That would be it if we did, just purely rankings. So I like the conference system. I really hope they don't go away from it. My only change would be giving a home game all the way until the final 4 teams, making it at the schools' sites. So no neutral location games until the Final Four, because then every team has gotten to play one in the actual college atmosphere. And I just think that's more fun. I think that's better for the viewership. This has been an excellent college football season. This is the season that I paid the most attention to college football in my entire life. We talked about it more on the podcast than we had previously. I say we, like you engage in discussion with me. If you're somebody that listens to this podcast and talks back to me, that's very impressive because I don't pause a lot for you. So I'm sorry about all the times I've interrupted you while you're speaking. But this is the most we've ever talked about it, and even then we didn't talk about it a lot on the show. But this is the most I paid attention to college football. This is the most fun season for me. Colorado obviously was really fun this year. I think we're going to be even better next year. I genuinely believe we'll be better next year. I'm that excited for Colorado next year. I'm disappointed by the fact we're not in this playoff. We truly, lost it for ourselves. We could have been here if we didn't screw up, and we completely screwed up, and we cost ourselves the chance to be here, and that's just on us. I mean, that's how it is. This one's on us. And we have nobody to blame for but ourselves. And so the only people we can be mad at is ourselves. Heisman was announced. I wanted it to be Genty. I maintain it should have been Genty. I think Travis Hunter is incredible. I think what he's done is amazing. If it wasn't for Ashton Genty, he would 100% deserve to win. But Genty had a historically great running back season. And I think we're going to look back in 10, 15 years and be like, yeah, Travis Hunter was awesome. But he wasn't the best wide receiver. He was a top 3 corner and a top 3 wide receiver. And because of that, we gave him the Heisman, even though Genty was far and away the best running back and potentially just the best player in college football that year, and we didn't give it to him. What the hell were we doing? It's kind of what I think. Yeah, that's really my thoughts. But, I mean, you guys obviously know I like Travis Hunter. I mean, I'd love for him to get drafted to my Panthers. That would be awesome. He obviously plays for my boys, Colorado Buffs. So you're like, oh, you're a Colorado fan. You should have to support Travis Hunter. I don't think I have to. I really don't think I have to. I genuinely think Genty should have won it. And that's that. Yeah. All right. Let's get into the playoffs. Yeah. I'm excited. Here we go. So what we'll do is we'll start with Texas Clemson. This one's obviously going to be in Texas, the 5-12 matchup here. I'm going to be really honest with you. I think this Clemson team kind of found something in that conference championship. I kind of like them for an upset, and I think this is a good one to start with because you're going to see this bracket's a little wild. I honestly believe what's been so fun about this college football season and the fact that I think this has been one of the most popular years of college football in my lifetime is because of the nature of there hasn't been one dominant team. Yes, Oregon's undefeated, but I don't think anyone's like, man, Oregon's just far and away the best team. I think Oregon's very beatable. This college football season's been really fun because of that competitiveness and because of the parity. And I think for all the people that get upset about the NIL and the transfer portal, I understand there's obviously many drawbacks to it, but I think that's part of the reason we're in such a competitive scene right now is because if you're a really good quarterback, you don't want to be the backup for Georgia for 3 years. You'd rather transfer and go to a school like an SMU, right, and take a starting opportunity there. And so we're seeing that pay off. We're seeing guys like Dylan Gabriel, who would have just been on a mediocre Oklahoma team transfer and now lead an elite Oregon team. To me, that's fun. I know some people don't like that. It's very different than the college football of old, but I think it's a good thing. And I think it's what's making the sport more interesting, and it's leading to more competitiveness. You look at this, 12 teams in the playoffs. I'm so happy they didn't go for Bama. Really, really, really happy that that's not what happened. But part of the reason there's a chance that you're like, oh, I could see this team upsetting this team, blah, 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 is because of the fact that college football is very spread right now. If you did a 12-team playoff in like 2017, it'd be a lot less interesting. I think I could tell you we're probably still going to end with a Georgia-Bama national championship. Whereas this year, I think you're going to see, my predictions are a bit wild, and I might be completely wrong. Maybe college football is a lot less competitive than I think it is. Maybe it is just going to end up being Oregon, Georgia. Maybe the final 4 teams are just going to be Oregon, Texas, Georgia, and Penn State. And, Oregon wins the whole thing, beating Georgia in the national championship. Maybe, because to me, that's, if college football is a lot less competitive than I think it is, that's the final 4 teams, right? But I think this is a really interesting year. And I think it's going to be a wild playoffs, and I'm very excited. And so I'm very intrigued to see, let's say we get a weird winner, right? Like, let's say Indiana won the national championship. Do we think this gives credence to the idea that the college football playoff being expanded is a good thing? Or do you think it would be messaged as, like, do you think people would be like, you see this why the college football playoff is bad. Indiana's clearly not the best team in college football. Just the nature of the way the playoffs were set up. They got lucky and managed to get there. That's what's interesting to me, is if the winner isn't Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Penn State, Notre Dame, Texas, say maybe even Clemson, just because they have that, build up with the fans, obviously, from prior success. If the winner is Arizona State, if Arizona State wins the national title, will people then disprove this playoffs even more? I think, sadly, yes. And to me, that would give credence to the idea that it's good to have an expanded playoffs, because we got gave teams that needed another opportunity. But some people would argue that they didn't deserve it and they just happened to get lucky one week, and now we're going to name the national champions forever, even though it should have been Georgia or Oregon. I think it's a good thing, but the media and I think a lot of fans will get pissy and say, like, if we get a weird winner, that the expansion's a very bad thing. But I just want to say, regardless of the winner, I think this has been a very good thing. And I think the ratings are going to speak for themselves. I mean, I'm sure the NCAA is very happy. I'm sure ESPN is too. So anyways, I'm taking Clemson to upset Texas. It's more of a Clemson thing than it is a Texas thing. The other thing with Texas is I'm not really sure if this team's really that good. I'm not really the highest on this team anyways. And Clemson, I feel like, found something in the ACC championship. I think they really played well, and I'm interested to see what they can do. So I'm taking them to beat Texas. I'm very excited about this pick. Let's move on to the 11-6 matchup. Penn State, number 6, versus the 11 Southern Methodist University. What are they? The Mustangs? Right? SMU? Stallions? SMU? Let's check. I thought they're obviously it's a horse. Southern Methodist Mustangs, yes. Okay. That's what I thought. So, the Mustangs versus the Nittany Lions. I'm going to take Penn State here. I think Penn State is better than SMU. This is another one I could really well see being an upset, but I don't really want to bet all my upsets on ACC football. So, I don't think this Penn State team's that good. I really don't. I don't think either of these teams will beat Boise State. I'm just going to say that. We're going to continue these predictions. You're going to figure out real quick. I'm pretty high on Boise State. But I'll take Penn State in this game. I don't know. I don't think either of these teams are really that great. And you're like, oh, well, you just said Clemson. Clemson barely beat SMU, and you're saying Clemson. I understand that. I do. But I think Texas is better than Penn State. And so, it's not like, I don't know. That doesn't make sense to my argument either. Technically, I should take SMU here since I took Clemson to beat Texas. But maybe, do I want to bet against James Franklin again? It's pretty easy to do. Screw it. We'll take SMU. That's fine. Yeah. All right. I've talked myself into it. We're going to take the ACC guys to both win their first game in the college football playoff. So that's Clemson's going to beat Texas, and we'll take SMU to beat Penn State. There we go. Why not? Notre Dame, Indiana, Friday night game. Cannot wait for this one. The battle for the Hoosier State. I'm taking the Hoosiers to beat the Fighting Irish. Indiana is going to upset Notre Dame. Notre Dame's been getting frisky. People have been excited about picking Notre Dame to go far in this playoffs, and I don't see it. I'm taking Indiana. I haven't watched Notre Dame a lot this year. I must admit, the only game I watched Indiana was when they got smacked by Ohio State. So one would argue that I should probably go with Notre Dame, but I'm going to take Indiana. I have yet to pick a higher seed. My goodness. Number 8, Ohio State versus number 9, Tennessee. In Columbus. Oh, by the way, the Notre Dame Indiana game's in South Bend, so that's going to be really fun. I'm taking the Hoosiers to the upset. I maintain. I'm excited. Ohio State versus Tennessee. Now, this is the upset that many people are taking the lower seed, and I'm not gonna. I honestly think Ohio State can get a win here. I really do. You guys know I'm a pretty big Ohio State hater. You do. I think everybody listening to this podcast knows. Big Ohio State football hater. But I like them for this win. I really do. In Columbus, in the Horseshoe. As long as the fans don't get too pissy of Ryan Day and start booing him before the game even starts, which would be the stupidest thing you could do, they can get a win here. And I don't think Tennessee is the greatest team. Nico Amaliva obviously is a baller, but I don't think the whole roster's great. If Ohio State plays a Big Ten rough and tumble game with them, they will win. That's what they need to do. If they start playing SEC football, which is basically mini NFL football, which I love to watch, don't get me wrong, I prefer watching that over Big Ten football. If they start playing SEC football, they will lose. Ohio State has to stick to old school Big Ten football. And if they do, they will beat Tennessee. That's my thought. Taking Ohio State to beat Tennessee. Oh boy. Now we're getting to the big ones, right? So we got the Rose Bowl, Peach Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, Sugar Bowl. Let's start with the Rose Bowl, right? Rematch between Big Ten rivals now. Oregon, Ohio State. I think it's very interesting that Oregon's the only Pac-12 school to do very well in the Big Ten. It was intriguing if SMU had won the ACC and Texas had won the SEC. It would have been all conference realignment schools that won the Big Four. Because Arizona State obviously didn't used to be Big 12. They used to be Pac-12. Oregon obviously used to be Pac-12 also. So just very interesting things that could have occurred. But it did not happen. We split 50-50. Still interesting that two teams from realignment won their new conferences. But we're getting Oregon, Ohio State. The rematch, they're going to be having. Oh my gosh, what's the Ohio State quarterback's name? This shows you how much I care about this Ohio State team. Oh, I know he's from Kansas State. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, what is his name? OSU QB. What's his name? Will Howard. There he is. All right. Old Will Howard's going to be practicing, watching the game clock or whatever. Poor kid. I'm taking Oregon. I don't think this Ohio State team's going to beat Oregon again. I know it's hard to beat a team twice, especially in college football, but yeah, damn it, I just think Oregon's better. I do. I just think Oregon's better. So we're taking Oregon to win the Rose Bowl. That would be a pretty sweet Rose Bowl. Oregon, Ohio State. It's a hell of a 1-8 matchup. Taking Oregon, moving in the Final Four. Let's go to the Peach Bowl. Clemson, Arizona State. This is a super fun game to me. Oh, my goodness. Arizona State was actually the first team I did a dynasty with in College Football 25. I don't know what struck me about them. I just thought they'd be a fun team to do a dynasty with. And it's really funny that here they are now doing very well. When I was their head coach, we won 4 national titles. Don't think that I'm going to take them to win the national title this year. Part of me wants to take them to beat Clemson, I will say. A part of me wants to put Arizona State in the Final Four. Do I want to bet on Dabo Swinney for a second time? Hell no. All right, we're taking Cam Scatabo, right? He was in College Football 25. He was a hell of a running back for me. Taking him to win the Peach Bowl. Arizona State's going to the Final Four. SMU, Boise State. This is where I think it's going to be really interesting because if Boise State can win some playoff games, it's going to be like, whoa, maybe we should have given Jeanty the Heisman. And I understand that that's not really a one-to-one, right? Obviously, Jeanty isn't the whole Boise State team. He doesn't play defense, for one thing. Even though he's the majority of the offense, he doesn't play defense. So the idea that Boise State winning games in the playoffs thus means they messed up the Heisman isn't exactly the best argument, but it will be one that happens on many sports shows. And it will be one that even I will kind of push on here because that is the nature of narratives. Even though it doesn't make 100% sense, if Jeanty plays well and they win playoff games, that's going to be like, whoa, maybe we messed up. And I think Boise State will win the Fiesta Bowl, beating SMU, putting Boise State in the Final Four. We got Georgia, Indiana. I'd love to see the Indiana Hoosiers move on farther, but I can't convince myself to do it. This is the Sugar Bowl. I'm taking Georgia to go into the Final Four. So these are our last matchups. We got Oregon versus Arizona State, Georgia versus Boise State. If I told you this was the Final Four in the college football playoff at the beginning of the year, you would have laughed your ass off. But here we are, and I think this is very fun. I'm going to take Oregon to beat Arizona State. I've had a hell of a time with that bottom part of the bracket with Texas, Clemson, and Arizona State in it. I've had a really fun time with those picks. I might have went 0 for 2 from that area. It's very fun that I got Oregon to play Arizona State in the college football playoff semifinal. But this is where that run ends. I'm taking Oregon to go to the national championship. We got Georgia, Boise State. I think this Georgia team has many flaws. I kind of believe in this Boise State team. I'm taking Boise State to beat Georgia and go to the national championship. That gives you a 2024, technically they call it 2025, but it's the 2024 season, national championship of the Oregon Ducks versus the Boise State Stallions, right? Are they Boise State Stallions? What? Stallions, right? Broncos. Damn it. My bad. Boise State Broncos versus the Oregon Ducks. This is a fun one. An upper western part of America having two teams face off. Idaho's own versus Oregon's. Very fun. Mountain West School in the national championship? Come on. The guy who, a decent amount of, Heisman controversy guy being in the national championship? Super fun. What's on the line for both sides here? For Jeanty, his name in the history books forever, right? The running back that led his team to a national championship was second in Heisman voting, got pissed off, and ended up winning the Natty afterwards, proving everybody wrong. For Oregon, it's Dan Lanning kind of staking his claim as the college football coach of the future, right? I think that would kind of be the statement. Dan Lanning is now the college football coach. For a while, it was, Saban, Kirby, Riley. I know you're laughing, but there was a period there. Lincoln Riley was a big damn deal. Jim Harbaugh. And I think Ryan Day was obviously a big deal too, right? Those were the main coaches. Well, now Saban's gone. Harbaugh's gone. Ryan Day's obviously lost his luster. Kirby Smart's obviously still a big damn deal. Don't get me wrong. And Lincoln Riley's lost his luster. I think Kirby's still really the big one left. Well, Dabo was a big damn deal a couple years ago, too, so throw him in there. And obviously, Dabo's lost a lot of his luster. Kirby's really the only big one left. We're kind of waiting for this next cycle of big college football coaches. I think Lanning could be that next guy. I really do. He clearly knows what he's doing. Obviously, I don't enjoy the fact that he talked some major trash on Colorado last year. But his record speaks for itself this year. They're undefeated. They moved to the Big Ten, a better conference. There's no argument, in my opinion, that it is a better conference when it comes to football. And they potentially are going to win the national championship. There's not a lot wrong with this Oregon team. It's a very good team. Realistically, they should win the national championship. And Dan Lanning officially stakes his claim, and Oregon's claim, as one of the programs of college football, and him as one of the coaches. But I'm not going to do that because it's more fun for me to pick Boise State and have Ashton Jeanty win the national title because that's fun and it's cool and that's interesting. And that's like damn near a movie. And I want to see it. I really do. If you said, gun to my head, Ryan, pick a team win a national championship this year, I'm picking Oregon. And they're not even that far and away better than most teams. It's just they're the team that's undefeated, and they got a good coach. And I don't love their quarterback, but he's definitely not bad. So you should take him. But Boise State's more fun. And I can see a world, they get on a hot streak, and they roll their way to the national championship, and Genty is just tearing teams up. And that's fun. And that's 30 for 30 stuff right there. I understand, life is not always a movie. And this would 100% be a movie script. But I'm manifesting it being written, So I'm taking Boise State to be your 2024 national champions. Because it'd be awesome. And it'd be really fun, and I would love to see it. That's my reasoning. This might be some of my worst predictions ever. I fully went with my heart because I believed that this college football playoff is going to be all over the place. And so I just kind of did what I wanted, and I've had a great time doing it. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode. You're gonna get that surprise episode Wednesday. I know you don't know what it's going to be about. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it, though. It's going to be fun. So make sure you check in Wednesday for that. Check in tomorrow for the NFL talk. And Thursday, we're going to talk about Superman trailer. And I cannot wait. I genuinely believe this is the most excited I've been for a movie in my entire life. More than I was excited for The Batman, more excited than I was for Spider-Man No Way Home, and more excited than I was for Endgame or Infinity War. Those are the movies I've been really excited for in my life. And the Lego movie. The original Lego movie I couldn't wait for either. Those movies I've been most excited for in my life, and I think Superman tops them all. I cannot wait for this film to come out. It's going to be really good. So we'll talk about that more near the end of the week. This is Monday. Check in tomorrow for NFL, and then we'll have a surprise episode Wednesday. Very excited to share with you all this episode I got prepared for Wednesday. You're not expecting it, but it's going to be great. So catch you all in those episodes. It's going to be a fun college football playoff. I'm excited.